Good day, learners. Our subject for today is Mathematics 5 for Quarter 4, Week 2. And our topic is volume of a cube and rectangular prism. For the most essential learning competencies, visualizes the volume of a cube and rectangular prism. Names the appropriate unit of measure used for measuring the volume of a cube and rectangular prism. Then derives the formula in finding the volume of a cube and rectangular prism using cubic centimeter and cubic meter. Converts cubic centimeter to cubic meter and vice versa, and cubic centimeter to liters and vice versa. When we are asked to find an amount that will occupy space and not just a surface, we are being introduced to another application of measurement, which is the volume. Volume is the three-dimensional size of an object measured in cubic units. It is expressed in cubic centimeters, cubic decimeters, cubic meters, cubic inches, cubic feet, and cubic yards, and others. Let us now read the following problem. A science teacher handed each of her pupils a rectangular flower pot 6 inches by 5 inches. The entire class was brought to the school garden, and the pupils were asked to fill up their flower pot with soil until it reaches the height of 8 inches. How much soil will be needed by each pupil? So in the given problem, we are asked to find the amount of soil needed to fill the flower pot up to the height of 8 inches. Let us visualize the problem. So for the rectangular pot, so we have this image. So this is a two-dimensional, so that means we have to find the area of this rectangular pot. So we will be needing the width, which is 5 inches, and the length, which is 6 inches. So let us now find the area. So the formula in finding the area is A is equals to length times width. So let us now substitute. So length is 6 inches and times 5 inches, which is our width. And to find the area, we have to multiply the length times width. So that is equivalent to 30 square inches. And since lalagyan natin ng lupa yung rectangular pot, so that means meron na siyang tatlong dimensions. So we have the length, which is 6 inches, and the width, which is 5 inches, and the height of the rectangular pot, which is, ang ilalagay nila is hanggang 8 inches. So, volume na ang ating kukuhanin. And to find the volume, we will be using the formula V is equals to length times width times height. And then if we are going to substitute, so the length is 6 inches times width, which has 5 inches, and the height, which is 8 inches. So that means the volume is equivalent to 240 cubic inches. So therefore, each pupil would need 240 cubic inches of soil in their flower pot. So for the rectangular prism, so this is a rectangular prism which is made up of unit cubes, and this rectangular prism has volume of 30 cubic units. Okay, so volume is measured according to the length, the width, and the height of the figure. So the formula in finding the volume of a rectangular prism is, so V is equals to length or L times width or W, and then height, and then H. So the formula is V is equals to L times W times height. So in this figure, so the length has 5 units. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 units. And the width has 3, so we have 1, 2, and then 3. And the height of this figure has 2 units, so 1 and 2. So when we are about to substitute, so the volume is equals to 5, which is the length, and the width, which is 3, and then the height, which is 2. So to find the volume, we have to multiply 5 times 3 and times 2. So that is equivalent to 30 cubic units. So this rectangular prism has 30 cubic units. Okay, so let us have the cube. So this is the sample of a cube. So, and this cube has um, length, width, and then height for the sides. Therefore, the formula that we are going to use is V is equals to S cube, or V is equals to S times S times S. And the sides has 5 units. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And also the height, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And also the width has 5 units. So therefore, the volume of this cube is V is equals to 5 times 5 times 5. So again, we will multiply 5 times 5 times 5 to get 125 cubic units. So therefore, this cube that we have has 125 cubic units. Okay, so the cubic units we use most often for volume are cubic centimeter, cubic decimeter, cubic meter, milliliter, and liter. And these are related as follows. Like, for example, we have 1,000 cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 1 cubic decimeter. And 1 million cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 1 cubic meter. So 1,000 cubic decimeter is equal to 1 cubic meter. And then 1 cubic decimeter is equals to 1 liter. So the same lang yung value nila. And then 1,000 cubic centimeter is equivalent to 1 liter. And then 1,000 liter, that is equivalent to 1 cubic meter. And then 1 cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 1 milliliter. To convert the cubic unit of measure to its larger equivalents, use division, and to convert the bigger units to its smaller equivalents, use multiplication. So let us see, for example, number 1. So we have 5 million cubic centimeter. How many cubic meter? So this is smaller unit to bigger unit. So that means, remember that for every 1 million cubic centimeter, that is only equivalent to 1 cubic meter. So therefore, 5 million divided by 1 million, that is equals to 5. So we can also use the cancellation for this process. So 5 divided by 1, that is 5. So that means for 5 million cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 5 cubic meter. So example number 2, so 4.3 cubic meter. So how many cubic centimeter? So baligtad naman sila, no? Example number 1. So bigger unit to smaller unit. So again, so for every 1 million cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 1 cubic meter. So we have to multiply. So 4.3 times 1 million, that is 4,300,000 cubic centimeter. So that is our answer. So 4.3 cubic meter is equivalent to 4,300,000 cubic centimeter. Another example, number 3. So we have liter to cubic meter. So 7.25 liter is equals to how many cubic meter? So for every 1,000 liter, that is only equivalent to 1 cubic meter. So therefore, we have to divide. So 7.5 divided by 1,000, that is equivalent to 725,000. Okay, so that means for every 7.25 liters, that is equivalent to 725,000 cubic meter. So for example number 4, we have 12,000 cubic centimeter is how many liters? So smaller unit to bigger unit. So again, 1,000 cubic centimeter is equivalent to 1 liter. So we have to divide. So 12,000 divided by 1,000, the answer is 12. So that means we can also cancel or use cancellation. So 12 divided by 1, the answer is 12. So that means 12,000 cubic centimeter is equivalent to 12 liters. Okay, for example number 5. So 3,500 liters is equivalent to how many cubic meter? So smaller unit to bigger unit. So again, so for every 1,000 liter, that is equivalent to 1 cubic meter. So we have to divide. So 3,500 divided by 1,000. So that is equal to 3.5 cubic meter, or we can use also cancellation. So we have to cancel. So that means 35 divided by 10, that is equivalent to 3.5. So that means 3,500 liters is equivalent to 3.5 cubic meter. Now, let us try to answer learning task 1. Count the number of cubic units to find the volume of the following rectangular prism and cubes. So here are the rectangular prism and cubes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay, so let us check your answer. So it's time to check. So let us first do the first figure. So again, we will be using the formula V is equals to length times width times height. So we have the length which has 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So that means meron tayong 4 units of length. And then the width, we have 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So the same. So the width has also 4 units. While the height, it has 1 and then 2. So if we are going to substitute, V is equals to 4, which is the length, times 4, which is the width, and times 2, which is the height. So again, we will multiply. So 4 times 4, and then times 2. So that means this figure has 32 cubic units. Okay. Okay, so this time let us check the third rectangular prism. So again, the volume is equals to length times width times height. So let us count the length. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then we have the width, 1, 2, and then 3. Yung lapad niya is 3. And then yung height niya is 1, 2, and then 3. So let us now substitute. So V is equals to 4, which is the length, and 3, which is the width, and 3, which is the height. So again, we will multiply 4 times 3, and then times 3. So when we multiply that, we will get volume of this rectangular prism is 36 cubic units. So let's move on to the fourth rectangular prism. So this is an example of a cube. So that means pare-parehas yung kanilang sides. So the formula that we are going to use is S times S times S. Okay, but ilan kaya yung sides, each side of this cube? So we have 1, 2, and then 3. So since cube yan, so dapat pare-parehas yung kanilang sides. So yan. So we have 3. So when we substitute, so that is 3 times 3 times 3. So again, let us multiply. So to get the volume. So the volume is 27 cubic units. Okay, for the fourth figure, we have, this is an example of a cube wherein we will be using the formula V is equals to S times S times S. So that means the sides of this figure has the same value. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So that is the length or the first side. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as our width, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the height. So when we substitute, V is equals to 5 times 5 times 5. And then to get the volume of this figure, so we have 5 times 5 times 5. So that means the volume of this container or this figure is equivalent to 125 cubic units. And for the last figure, so the formula is V is equals to S times S times S. So this is also a cube. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the length and the width. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And the height is also 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So let us now substitute. So 4 times 4 times 4. So we will multiply. And this figure has 64 cubic units. Now, for learning task number 3, study the illustrations and answer the questions below. So this is the illustration. So how many layers fill the figure? Okay, so for number 1, what kind of solid figure is the container? Okay, so this container, another question is how many layers are there? So let us answer the following questions. So for number 1, what kind of solid figure is the container? So this figure is a rectangular prism. And for number 2, how many layers are there? So this figure has 8 layers. Okay, so as we continue answering the questions for learning task number 3, so again, we will be using the same illustration. So for number 3 questions, question, what are the dimensions of the container? Number 4, how many cubic units are there in one layer? Number 5, how many cubic units fit the container? So for number 1 question, the answer is the dimensions are the length, the width, and the height. And for number 4, so in finding the volume of this container, we will be using the formula V is equals to length times width times height. So that means when we are going to substitute, we have 6 times 4 times 1. So saan nanggaling yung 6, yung 4, and then yung 1. So yung length natin, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Yan. And then we have the width, which is 1 to 4, yung nasa sides natin. And since ang tinatanong naman is 1 layer lang, so yung 1 lang ang ating gagamitin. So, when we multiply that, we will have 24 cubic units. So, that means that that container has 24 cubic units in one layer. Okay, now for number 5, how many cubic units fit the container? Okay, so again, we will be using the formula V is equals to length times width times height. Yan, so when we substitute, magiging 8 na siya kasi yung buong container na ang tinatanong. So we have 6 times 4, so the same pa rin. We have 6 as the length, and then we have 4 as our width, and the height is 8. Okay, yung kanina 1 yung ginamit natin kasi isang layer lang yung tinatanong. So ngayon, gagamitin na natin is 8 yung buong container na, yung taas ng buong container. Okay, and then when we multiply that, we will have 192 cubic units. So therefore, there are 192 cubic units in this container. Okay. Now, for learning task number 4, convert the following cubic units as indicated. Okay, so we have on number 1, 2 million cubic centimeter. How many cubic meter? For number 2, 5.4 cubic meter. How many cubic centimeter? And number 3, 9,500 cubic decimeter is how many cubic meter? Number 4, 15.2 liters is how many cubic centimeter? And number 5, 25,000 cubic centimeter is how many liters? Okay. Okay, so it's time to check your answer for number 1. So, number 1 question is 2 million cubic centimeter is how many cubic meter? So, remember that for every 1 million cubic centimeter, that is only equivalent to 1 cubic meter. Okay, so that means smaller unit to bigger unit. So, 2 million divided by 1 million, the answer is 2. Okay, so we can also use cancellation. Okay, so matitira na lang natin is 2 and then 1. So 2 divided by 1, the answer is 2. So that means for every 2 million cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 2 cubic meter. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Okay, 5.4 cubic meter is equivalent to how many cubic centimeter? So this is bigger unit to a smaller unit. So again, 1 million for every 1 million cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 1 cubic meter. So we are going to multiply. So 5.4 times 1 million, the answer is 5,400,000. Okay, so that means for 5.4 cubic meter, that is equivalent to 5,400,000 cubic centimeter. Okay, for number 3, so we have 9,500 cubic decimeter is how many cubic meter? So for every 1,000 cubic decimeter, that is equivalent to 1 cubic meter. So smaller unit to bigger unit. So 9,500 divided by 1,000. Okay, so that is equivalent to 9.5. Okay, so the answer so that means 9,500 cubic decimeter is equivalent to 9.5 cubic meter. And for number 4, 15.2 liters is equivalent to how many cubic centimeter? So for every 1,000 cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 1 liter. So bigger unit to smaller unit. So we have to multiply 15.2 times 1,000. The answer is 15,200. So for 15.2 liters is equivalent to 15,000 cubic centimeter. And for number 5, 25,000 cubic centimeter is how many liters? So, kabaligtaran naman ng isa. So, again, for every 1,000 cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 1 liter. So, smaller unit to bigger unit. So, we will divide. So, 25,000 divided by 1,000, that is 25. So, that means for every 25,000 cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 25 liters. Okay, for learning task number 5, on a grid paper, draw the following rectangular prism or cubes with the following volumes. So we have for number 1, 15 cubic centimeter, number 2, 18 cubic centimeter, number 3, 27 cubic centimeter, number 4, 30 cubic centimeter, and number 5, 64 cubic centimeter. Okay, so I will answer number 1 and number 2 as an example. So you have to answer number 3 and number down to 5. So this is the example number 1. So this is the for number 1. So we have 15 cubic centimeter. So as you can see, the length is 5 centimeter times 3 centimeter and times 1 centimeter. So when you multiply that, you will get 15 cubic centimeter. Okay, so for example number 2, so this is the figure for number 2. Okay, so we have 3 centimeter, we have 2 centimeter, and then we have 3 centimeter. So again, we will be using the formula B is equals to length times width times height, and the length is 3 centimeter, the width is 2 centimeter, and the height is 3 centimeter. So when we multiply 3 times 2 times 3, so we will get volume is equivalent to 18 cubic centimeter. Okay. So that means for learning task number 5, you will answer number 3, number 2, and number 5. So remember that volume is the amount of space occupied by a solid figure. It is the number of cubic units needed to fill in the container. And volume is 3-dimensional, which is composed of the area of the base, which is the length times width times the height. That is why it is always expressed in cubic units such as cubic centimeter, cubic decimeter, cubic meter, cubic inches, cubic feet, etc. So the formula for finding the volume of a cube is V is equals to S times S times S, or S cube, or edge, which is E times E times E, or E cube. While the formula for finding the volume of a rectangular prism is V is equals to length times width times height. Okay, so for learning task number 6, give the volume of the following solid figures. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay, so unahin natin yung 1. Okay, so this is a cube. At ang cube na ito is, ang sides niya is merong 4. So, pare-parehas yung kanyang sides. So, 4 times 4 times 4. So, you have 64 cubic units. And the second figure, so ang length niya is, this is a rectangular prism. So, ang length niya ay 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Ang kanyang width is 1, 2, 3. And then, ang kanyang height is 2. So, that means 5 times 3 times 2. So, you will get 30 cubic units. And then, for the third figure, so, ang cubic units niya is 28 cubic units. Okay, so kung bibilangin natin yung units ng figure na ito, meron siyang 28 cubic units. And number 4, it has 12 cubic units. And then ang number 5, it has 14 cubic units. Ang isang cube ay 1 unit. Okay, for letter B, what is the appropriate unit of measure to be used in measuring the volume of the following objects? Okay, so ang gagamitin natin is cubic centimeter, cubic decimeter, and cubic meter. So number 1 are number 6, aquarium. Number 7, classroom. Number 8, cabinet. Number 9, plant box. And number 10, dictionary. Okay, so let us now answer. Number 6, aquarium. So we will be using cubic decimeter. Number 8, classroom, cubic meter. Number 8, cabinet, cubic meter. Number 9, plant box. So we will be using cubic decimeter. And number 10, dictionary, we will be using cubic centimeter. Okay, another activity for learning task number 6, convert the following cubic units as indicated. Okay, so for number 11, 35.5 cubic meter is how many cubic centimeter? So again, bigger unit to smaller unit. So remember that for every 1 million cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 1 cubic meter. So what are we going to do? We will multiply. So 35.5 times 1 million, that is equivalent to 35,500,000. So that means for 35.5 cubic meter, that is equivalent to 35,500,000 cubic centimeter. And for number 2, 87,000 cubic centimeter is how many liters? So smaller unit to bigger unit. So 1,000 for every 1,000 cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 1 liter. So divide. So 87,000 divided by 1,000, that is equivalent to 87. Okay, so we can also use cancellation. So matitira na lang is 87 and 1. So 87 divided by 1, the answer is 87 liters. So that means sa 87,000 cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 87 liters. Okay, to continue the activities, so for letter C, read and solve the following problems. So for number 13, a truck delivers 4.5 cubic meter of sand. How many cubic decimeters of sand does a truck hold? So we have 4.5 cubic meter is equivalent to how many cubic decimeter? So this is bigger unit to smaller unit. So that means, so for every 1,000 cubic decimeter, that is equivalent to 1 cubic meter. So ano ang gagawin natin? We will multiply. So 4.5 times 1,000. So that is equivalent to 4,500. So that means for 4.5 cubic meter is equivalent to 4,500 cubic decimeter. Okay, to continue for number 14, a water tank can hold 3 cubic meter of water. How many liters of water can fill it? So 3 cubic meter is equivalent to how many liters? So for every 1,000 liter, that is equal to 1 cubic meter. So that means we are going to multiply 3 times 1,000, that is 3,000. So the answer is 3 cubic meter is equal to 3,000 liters ang kailangan to fill in the water tank. Okay, to continue for the problem number 15, a bottle of 1.5 liters of energy drink is transferred to bottles of 250 cubic centimeter each, and how many bottles will be used? So, i-convert muna natin sa cubic centimeter. So, 1.5 liters is equivalent to how many cubic centimeter? So, for every 1,000 cubic centimeter, that is equivalent to 1 liter. So, 1.5 times 1,000, that is 1,500 cubic centimeter. So, ngayon na nakuha na natin yung 1.5 liters, makukuha na natin ngayon kung ilang bottle ang maaaring gamitin na 250 cubic centimeter. So that means 1,500 cubic centimeter, divide natin sa 250 cubic centimeter na size ng bottle. So when you divide, so the answer will be 6 bottles will be used. And that concludes our topic about volume of a cube and rectangular prism. I hope that you learned something from this lesson. Thank you very much, and God bless everyone.